What's up, party people? It's KeysDAN with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live and in living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous? It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do I always send you? DJLittleRock.com. One more time, DJLittleRock.com. Check availability and get a free price quote, and maybe you could have me at your next event. You know I like to party with the people. The people need to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Let me entertain you. Today on the program, I have a community-oriented person, Reverend John Stutts, modern-day Noah, Monarch of Fire. The man has so many titles, and he's a comedian on top of everything. He makes people laugh in this crazy world. So we're going to find out a little bit more about Reverend John Stutts in the next few minutes. So stick around. So excited to talk to him. This week's shows, let's see. I got a lot of public shows for you. So good. On Wednesday nights, I've been doing Mally's Entertainment in Conway, Arkansas. That is ladies' night from 6 to 9. I've been playing the music. Oh, my goodness. And if you want to hear something special that's going to get you on the dance floor, don't hesitate to text me. I put my number up on the screen, and people are sending me texts, and I want to hear this. I want to hear that. I want to know this. It helps me to create the vibe for ladies' night on Wednesday night at Mally's Entertainment in Conway, Arkansas. Such a good time. And that's from 6 to 9. And then on Thursday night, I'm back over at Mally's on the big stage. And yeah, I'm up on the big stage on Wednesday. But Thursday, I'm up on the big stage. And I invite you to come and join me on the big stage at Mally's Entertainment. It's the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam. Yes, I said karaoke. You're the stars of the show. I'm just pressing buttons for you. You provide the entertainment on a Thursday night from 6 to 9 at Mally's Entertainment in Conway, Arkansas on Thursday night. And then on Friday night, oh my goodness, what I've been doing for the past almost 20 years in this building in one capacity or another, on and off, is the Video Dance Party Karaoke Jam at the Rab in Conway, Arkansas. Yeah, the Rab. They got great food, bars, the kitchen's open, pool tables, pool tournament on Friday nights. So if you want to try your hand at playing pool and possibly make some money on a Friday night, check out the Rab in Conway, Arkansas on Friday night. So yeah, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I'm at Mally's Entertainment. They got so much to do. I know I'm going to forget. They got bars, they got the kitchen, they got pool tables, they got bowling, they got escape room, they got laser tag, video games. So much. I know I'm forgetting stuff. I'm forgetting stuff because there's so much packed into that big giant room. And so yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, come on out, come play. Wednesday and Thursday, I keep that family friendly unless there's no kids around, and we make it more adult. But if there's kids around, hey man, I'll make it family friendly. And I know there's been a lot of families having a good time right there at Mally's Entertainment on Wednesday and Thursday nights. I know they do stuff every night of the week, but that's the nights that I'm there. And then on Friday, always a good time at the Rab. My life is getting good. My life is good. Yeah. All right, that's enough intro. Let's get into it with Reverend John Stutts, the modern day Noah, the Monarch of Fire. It sounds like I'm inviting a boxer up on the stage, just saying all his nicknames. Anyway, I got him on Skype. So if you're listening to the audio version of this, check out the video on my YouTube, youtube.com/user/KeysDAN. Skyping Reverend John Stutts now.
How's it going, KeysDAN?
Hey man, why is the girl from Ipanema always the hold music when you're on hold on the phone or in an elevator? Girl from Ipanema seems to be the go-to in movies. Why did that just pop into my head? I don't know. You tell me. You're the prophet.
I've been told that a time or two.
All right, man. Well, good to have you let's see, I don't know. Is it Reverend John Stutts? Is it the modern day Noah? Is it the Monarch of Fire? So many facets. Is it the owner of 343 Transportation? Is it there's just so much about you, man. I've talked to your lovely wife, Aisleth, so many times on this podcast and in real life, of course. And I've met you in person, so I consider you a friend in real life, or IRL, what the kids always say, because they like to shorten things because they have a short attention span. But this is the first time you've been on the What Makes You Famous podcast. Give the people an idea of who you are.
Well, Keys, like you were saying, I'm a multi-business entrepreneur. I'm a retired firefighter. I love to spend time with my wife and my kids. We have so much that's coming up, just to end up this year, and a lot coming into the next year. We've got so many big hit names that we've come in contact with, and we're just happy to keep pushing forward and making more connections with people. I actually just dropped my newest devotional. We became bestseller in the first 3 days on Amazon.
That's how it's done.
That was a huge accomplishment. I mean, yes, I partnered up with a lot of other authors and artists for the book. But, just to be able to have that bestseller status, I can add that to my list of achievements and the many more achievements that I will have.
Yeah, it's nice to have it on your resume. It's nice to have accolades. When you go through this life of ours, which is, short by many standards. Even if you live to be 100, a centurion, if you have the opportunity to go that far, it's still a short life in comparison to the universe, the world, and I know that faith plays a lot into your being. I mean, the modern day Noah, it could be blasphemous if some people say, "Ooh, he thinks he's a prophet of some kind. He thinks he's biblical. He thinks he's a messenger of God." And let me tell you, a lot of those people that were in the Bible didn't fare too well when they started saying they were messengers and prophets, and that they had the ear of God, or God was using them. But tell me how you fared in that.
So God uses everybody in a lot of different ways. I wouldn't say that I'm a prophet of God, but I will say, with me being an ordained reverend, I am the voice. It is our job to voice out His plan for this universe. I mean, like, they said back in the beginning of the Bible, God spoke it and it came into existence. That's exactly what we're here to do as ordained reverends. We don't just marry people and bury people. It goes so much further than just that. You build relationships and connections with your community. And, I'm not going to say that I have an ear of God, but, I do as I'm instructed to do.
Well, it's a big responsibility being a reverend. You have to tend to your flock, whether it be a flock of one or a flock of thousands. You have a flock. You have people that are listening to you, that are respecting the words that you say because you have that title. It takes a lot, man. I mean, you can go to church, you can not go to church. You can say I'm spiritual. You can say you believe, you don't believe. We have that freedom in this country. But you've chosen a path of trying to live your life the way that it's taught in the Bible. And whether you believe what's in the Bible or not, it's still a book of instructions. I know the God of the Old Testament was smiting people left and right. It seemed like he was a vengeful God. And then the God of the New Testament was more loving and felt and feeling. But, hey, we can talk religion for the whole hour, or we could talk about what I really like is the thing we have in common. One of the things we have in common, and one of them is comedy. I love comedy. I love the fact that you do comedy, and it's probably one of the hardest jobs ever to try to get up on stage, make up some jokes, and make people laugh. But one thing we've had in the past, and I was looking through some boxes, I found my old firefighter helmet from the Florida Keys. I was a Key Largo firefighter for 10 years, from 89 to 99. Yes, kids, that's back in the 1900s, okay? It's ancient history, okay? But from 89 to 99, and I remember I drove the trucks. I started out as a nozzleman, I guess an apprentice nozzleman. Really, you go in first, and there's a lieutenant maybe pushing the hose for you or helping you push, and you're the nozzleman. But tell me about your experience as a firefighter. I kind of want to know about that. Where was it and when was it?
Oh man, I mean it spread out over the last 10 years, just kind of off and on here and there. I worked several different departments. I worked metro, I worked rural, I did wildland scuba training. I got to work with local sheriff's departments, learning about how the bomb squad operates. I had a lot of different opportunities, even if they weren't for long periods of time. It was still, memories that I'll never forget. And it's something, it's something I can help implement to those in the communities around me. Like whenever we get the moment, we're talking to local fire departments, local police departments about us maybe doing a ride along for a day, showing people what it's exactly like to be in the boots of a firefighter or a police officer. I'm what you call a generational firefighter. So I'm a legacies prodigy. So I'm a fourth generation. So, I mean, it definitely was some boots to fill, so to speak, literally. My dad was a very highly, highly decorated firefighter after he got out of the Marine Corps. I've still got all of his badges. I got grandpa's badges. It was definitely something to live up with.
Fantastic. I mean, absolutely. And fourth generation, people talk about Nepo babies, okay, when they're talking about the rich. And I think that generally the children will want to follow in the footsteps of their parents. They get taught by their parents, learn by example. And your example was, hey, you saw your daddy doing some firefighting stuff? Let me get into that firefighting stuff. I see my daddy, driving the car away from the house and never coming back. Hey, maybe I'll try that. No, I'm kidding. That's a terrible joke. And I know you're a jokester, but you're talking about the rescue diving. I was a rescue diver myself, man, on the water emergency team, the wet team. Boy, that's a fantastic stretch of a name. And I remember it was a lot of recovery. It was a lot of horrific stuff in the fire department. It was and the best part was when you did get to save a life, when you did get to save some property, and maybe you didn't get to maybe that house, that main house was fully engulfed, but you saved the house on the left and the right and behind. You saved the car that was sitting there next to them. You saved their property. And I remember, children. When you see children, you give them a little doll because you know that they've lost all their toys, and the horrors of the fire department and the aftermath of a fire. It's just it's detrimental. It really is. I don't know. Did you get into was it all the fire fighting, or was there any medical training in there as well? Because I did both.
So I did learn a lot with a little bit of medical, but you got to realize, growing up as a generational, I learned everything I really needed to know before I even went to the academy. I learned everything before I was even 18. 15, 16, 17 years old, I was out there, middle of the night when I was at my dad's. It didn't matter if it was a school night or not. He actually had my own turnout gear. He had my own honorary vest and shirt and jacket and everything, and I'd slip my boots on. As soon as I hear that beep, 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 it's time. Then we knew it was time to go, and so even though I couldn't really do a whole lot, I still got to help him assist with medical. I got to learn how to fight fires before I ever even went. So, going through, these academies and learning, even just the basics, I just blew right through it. It was just second nature to me. I got to learn how to stitch people. I got to learn how to use tourniquets. Got to learn how to treat third-degree burns, how to, stop GSWs and how to stop the blood flow. I learned a lot, and I have to give all the credit to my dad. Whenever he comes home, we still train each other. You know, I mean, even whether it's home defense, what to do in a fire situation, what to do if you just get in an unbearable type of situation where just like your average mom and Joe Bob citizen wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah. It sounds like you had a little extra training because, you know, a lot of the kids, and I know down in South when the fire, it was like fire prevention week. It was usually in October down in South Florida, in the Florida Keys where I was doing it primarily. And we'd go to schools and teach them about the fire truck and the stop, drop, and roll, and make sure that your mom checks their fire extinguishers and make sure that you and your family have a plan on how to get out, the safety portion of it. Make sure that you stay safe, stay low when the smoke is coming. But man, you've taken it a little bit further. A lot of people think that firefighters just sleep. You know, they sleep until the fire comes, and that's part of the job. But a lot of it is the training part. I mean, I remember running around the block with an axe on my back and running in the full turnout gear, which adds a little about 70 extra pounds to your body. So I was in a great shape, and you have to be in some kind of shape. And it's a way to help the community. And I know you're a community-oriented person, but if people were trying to figure out, hey, how can I help the community? Well, there's lots of volunteer fire departments out there. That might be one way to help the community. There's lots of volunteer services. Maybe you don't have to be the one that goes in the fire, but you might provide, maybe some food and drinks to the firefighters that are on an 8-hour fire. And some of those fires do last a long time. So there's a whole way to help the community. And that is where I was kind of leading into, was how can someone help the community? There's always a way. Even if you don't have a lot of cash in your pocket, you don't have to always throw money at it. Throw your time, throw yourself, your being into the community. And I know you and your lovely wife are very about, and their child as well, as far as I can see, are very into helping the community. Yes, you have to have a day job. You have to make some money to keep some roof over your head and clothes on your back. But then once you make it to a certain level, give back. How else are you giving back? You got the Monarch of Fire, the Modern Day Noah, being a Reverend. But tell me, how are you helping the community now? And when did that start? Were you a little kid when you started doing that? And where was that? I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, John.
Oh, no. I mean, everybody always wants to know, where I got my start. Like I said, grew up watching Dad doing so much. Dad, coming out of the Marine Corps, he was already serving his country as it was. Then coming home, to being a highway patrol officer for the state of North Carolina, being a full-time firefighter and paramedic. That's where my inspiration went up coming from. I still remember my very first burn drill. He put me in my turnout gear. His garage was so big, and he placed out certain things amongst the inside of the garage to make it look like you were climbing through a building, to make it look like you were climbing through a house that was getting ready to come on top of you. Used a smoke machine to where I couldn't see anything. Turned up some heat up in there. That way it would feel like I was actually going into an active fire. My job was to crawl out, grab what I needed to grab, as the person, drag the person out, and to get back to the other side of the house. And so, he made the mistake of turning my air off. Yeah, I learned that one real quick.
Now, okay, I went to fire school in Ocala, Florida, which is it's like in the central to northern part of Florida. And there's a very good fire school there. They offer not only the 2-month basic firefighting, which is a lot of that, going through a burned building, climbing 5-story buildings with a hose on your back and various tools, the axes, the different fire tools that you use going up the stairs and going through burned buildings. But they also had the smoke divers program, which is kind of what we always likened it to a Navy SEALs type training, to where everything you learned in those 2 months, it gets condensed into 5 days, and they're waking you up at 4 a.m. Bing, 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 bing. Come on, it's time to get up. Bing, bing. And then you're going through the burned buildings and you're going up and down stairs in the middle of the night. And you mentioned him turning off the air. Well, they would do that to us on purpose. Hey, what if you ran out of air all of a sudden? Whoop! Beep, and you're just in there. You better hold your breath for that 60 seconds, 2 minutes, till you could find your way out of that building. But the training can be intensive. And it sounds like you had your training before you even went to training, which is fabulous. I give it up to your dad. Good job in training a boy, giving your son a skill which is not only going to help him in the fire department, but it's also going to help you with community. Being in the fire department, I remember it was camaraderie. We had a group of boys and girls because the fire chief's daughter decided she wanted to be a firefighter too. So we were always apprehensive back in the 90s. Wait, should a girl be a firefighter? Should a girl be a policeman? Well, I told that girl if she can carry me on her back 100 feet, I'd give her respect. This little girl, probably 5'2", 100 and something, 102 pounds, whatever, real small, put me on her back, carried me 100 feet. Okay. But I don't know. As a man's man, are there certain jobs that a woman shouldn't do, or if they can do it, more power to them? What?
No, I agree. I would initially had the same response, which I've had the same response, even, being a full timer. If you can prove yourself to me, you'll earn my respect, because, it's not to be sexist. It's more or less, I need to know that if I go into a building with you, I can count on you to help me get out of that building. And, don't get me wrong, it is a more upper frontal muscular kind of job. You can't be, weak and be a firefighter. You've got to be able to know how to use your muscles in your body. You got to be able to contort your pain and turn it back out and use it as fuel. It don't matter if you're hurting at that time. You got to be able to turn that away and keep going. There was a couple of female firefighters that I worked with that were just amazing, but they had an advantage. They either grew up in the life, they grew up military or with police officers for dads. They kind of had that one up compared to most people. But I have met other female firefighters and paramedics, police officers that were first of their kind in their family. Like mom and dad may have done something completely different, maybe worked a desk job, maybe my wife's mother. Her mom and her dad were both reverends or pastors, and so for her to venture out, she went into business, went to college. She did so many different things as compared to where her parents were. So she loves to travel the world. She wants to make a difference, not just here at home, but across the nations. Whereas her parents were either in Nicaragua or, in California, they limited themselves. And that's the biggest key point that I like to make is, whether you're a man or a woman, don't let others in life dictate who you want to be. If you want to go be a full-time firefighter, go be one. You want to go be a fighter pilot in the Air Force, go be one. That was an opportunity I got to see. You want to talk about female achievement? I met the female pilot at a thing called Thunder Over the Rock over there at the Little Rock Air Force Base in Jacksonville when I watched the air show. I've been watching that air show for the last 10 years. Okay. So when I got to meet a pilot, she wasn't but maybe 24 years old. Just itty bitty thing, maybe 5'4", 130 pounds soaking wet. And she could outfly anybody on that airstrip. She was flying an F-35 Mark II Lightning. That is one of the fastest fighter pilots we have in the U.S. military. And she flew circles around everybody. So, to say that women can't do rough jobs, I will never say that. But if I'm working with you, there is that sense of you need to prove to me that you can do it.
Yeah.
Prove to me that I can trust you. Prove to me that you can have my back if we're doing a job together. It's just about trust.
Now
More
you're
or less
talking.
it is about who you are as an individual.
Yeah, I think it might have been advantageous that she was a little smaller framed because as far as I could see, pilots are not tall. They need to have a certain weight. As long as you have the smarts and the reflexes, you could be a pretty good pilot. That is a job that I wish that I could do. And if I could learn how to fly a plane, even a small plane, just the feeling of flight, it's amazing. I mean, have you ever? I'm guessing that you've flown in planes here and there. Where did you grow up, John?
I've never actually flown.
What? Where did you grow up?
Here will be the first time I get him on an airplane.
That's your lovely wife, Aisleth, in the background there. But where did you grow up?
So I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. But I grew up here around, Little Rock, Cabot, Jacksonville, Sherwood area for a little over 20 years.
Very good. When did you graduate high school?
I graduated high school in 2015.
And you graduated from where? From here?
So I actually was up in southern Missouri, right across the Arkansas line, a little place called Thayer, Missouri. It's right there beside Mammoth Spring, which is a national landmark for Arkansas. It's the Mammoth Spring National Park of Arkansas. Just a little old town, about 4,000 people.
Yeah, but I like having a small town. You probably had a tight community. You probably had a good group of friends growing up there. Did you play outside at all, or were you an inside type of guy?
Oh man, I'm very avid. Like my tag, the modern day Noah. That speaks for itself. I was very upfront with nature, with animals. Loved to hunt. Loved to fish, loved to just be outdoors. That was always my thing. You never caught me at home. You never seen me inside because it could be dark and, when we could be riding our bikes. When we heard mom yell, we knew it was time to come home.
Riding bikes, man.
We heard stepdad yell, it's time to come home. Otherwise, no, we were gone.
I know the young kids are seeing the memes come across their social media where they say, this is how we found out where our friends were. And it's a big pile of bikes in front of a house. That is how you grow up, man, is having adventures with your friends, with your boys, with your girls, just having adventures and seeing stuff. And, oh, my gosh, a snake. Oh, an alligator. Well, I guess down south it was alligators and snakes that we'd see mostly. But you probably saw some bigger animals being out there in the woods.
I used to go out with a lot of my buddies, but as I got older, I started working like alongside Department of Conservation. I knew all of the game wardens there. They would come to the schools off and on, teach us about venomous, animals, which I already knew everything. But, it was glad to be able to take part and help. I would actually go out later on as I got to be an adult, would help relocate like rattlesnakes. Got to learn all about the indigenous species of Arkansas and Missouri. What to touch, what not to touch. That's where we should start. Well, maybe I shouldn't pick this up. It might kill me.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, I had fish tanks, and I would empty those fish tanks, and sometimes I'd put some snakes and frogs and such in there. And the snakes, I know. Okay, with hindsight, when I was young, I'd put a snake in the aquarium, and by the time I got home from school, that snake would have gotten out. And with hindsight, I fully believe that my mom or my stepdad was grabbing those snakes out of those tanks and letting them go free. So I think that they were letting my pet snakes out. I mean, how did you used to grab snakes or frogs or any animals and bring them into the house?
All the time. All the time. It didn't matter where we were. I mean, if I see an opportunity, I took it. And of course, it freaked all my friends out because they're like, "Ew." I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry. I just have a much bigger love for animals. I mean, I've been bit many, many times. I mean, that's what's going to happen when you pick up something you shouldn't. You're going to get bit.
Yeah, my mom had an aversion to frogs. So what did my brother and I always bring in? A bucket of frogs. Here, Mom, we got you a bucket of frogs. Get that out of the house. But yeah, that's how, that's why I fully believe.
I say dinner.
I fully believe that I stay healthier and I didn't get COVID because I played outside and I ate in the dirt. Okay, that's my theory, my conspiracy theory. Prove me wrong, but no, playing outside in the dirt is going to help you with your immune system. It's going to help you stay healthier. Just being in the sun, just getting out and doing things. But I know in one generation, for some reason, kids are not going outside anymore. I hope that changes in the next generation, where kids will go back outside, find a bicycle, or even put some jogging shoes on and go take a walk, play some basketball. I know basketballs are about $5 over at the store to go play. But I digress. I'm going off on tangents because I'm talking to you and I'm excited to talk to you. And I know that not only did you grow up being community oriented, but you also married into it, okay? Now that you have your lovely wife, Isleth, which I've had on the podcast at least 2, probably 3 times on this thing, and we've talked in great length about what she's doing for the community. Now that you found another soul, a like-minded person that wants to be a part of the community, not only live in the world, but be a part of the world that helps. So tell me, once you met up with Isleth, how did that change your life? You changed the course.
So it definitely changed in a lot of different ways. Like our cultures clash a lot. Even though I may have grown up, in the Hispanic community in the same realm as her, our Spanishes do clash a lot because I grew up Mexican, whereas she grew up Nicaraguan and Colombian. So, 3 different forms of Spanish right there, all together in one little bubble. But no, I believe that we make each other stronger when it comes to doing community outreach. There's a lot that I can do that she can't do or won't do, depends on who you ask. I'm definitely more of the abrasive masculine one for sure. I'm not afraid to take the risk. I'm not afraid to, jump nose deep into things. Whereas she's like what you call a logic rock. She'll sit there and try to think what's logically smart about something, where I'm street smart. I grew up on the streets like a little heathen hood rat. I grew up learning things that would, actually help me. Couldn't go to school and learn nothing. You go to work with your homeboy and learn how to flip burgers. Well, now you know how to do math. Now you know how to make hamburgers. You at least learned something that was useful.
Well, that's what I found with a lot of my firefighting buddies, that they learned by doing, okay? The ones that went into the medical part of it, you had to learn by knowing as well. I went into the paramedic program myself. So not only was I a pumperhead and I knew the amount of pressure that you had to have here for this length of hose to make sure that 100 pounds of pressure ended up at that nozzle, to make sure that and of course there's a cheat sheet sitting there next to the pump, and you go, okay, if I have this length of hose and I'm going that distance and I have that amount of rise, if I'm going up 20 feet into a 2-story building, I got to have this. So there is a lot of math involved there. And if you're in the medical, you definitely have to know a lot about your math, make sure that you don't overdose somebody. But, the book smarts, I think they passed me by as well. All right. I learn, and I have to try twice as hard to get it right in that area. But the learn by doing, all day long. Go out there, teach me a skill. I will learn that skill. I will practice that skill until I'm proficient in that skill. And I know in firefighting, we have races to put the gear on, the turnout gear real quick. And for those listening, turnout gear is the overclothes that are fire resistant, fire retardant, to help the firefighter stay safe. So maybe the jacket and the pants and the suspenders and the hat and the face mask. That's the turnout gear. But we had races on putting that turnout gear the quickest. And well, okay, that's another thing is the races, is the contests. Do kids all deserve a prize for participation, or do you think that they should be getting into contests and hey, first prize? I know in the Olympics you get gold, silver, bronze. Should everyone get a participation prize at a young age?
I mean, I feel like the self-esteem thing is a bit overrated, and that's just my honest opinion. I grew up, we didn't get participation. It was either you got in the top 3, you didn't get nothing at all. Hey, try again next year. But that taught us to learn determination. It taught us to think, well, what could I have done better? What can I do better? What will I do better? I don't believe in the participation thing because I believe that coddles your child. I believe it inhibits them to think that, oh, well, I did just fine. Maybe I should just stay at this brain speed. I don't believe in that. I believe, hey, if you failed, get up and try again.
Well,
every completed mission started off as a failed mission. You had to fail to complete it.
That is NASA. It's your first attempt at success is how they put all the failures. Your first attempt at success. And I remember Clint Eastwood saying, a man's got to know his limitations. A person has to know their limitations. And how else besides failure are you going to learn your limitations? Okay, maybe I'm just not good at that skill. Let me pivot. Let me find something else that I can become proficient at, that I can feed my family with, that I can help to become a better part of the community. That's how you find out who you're going to be in this world. How are you going to help? Not just, be a hermit and be a drain on society, but also become an enhancement and be able to help your fellow person, your fellow man, your fellow woman. I'm so glad that you found each other, okay? Because I do want to get into what is it specifically nowadays that you're doing with your community orientation. I know you have, the podcast and there's a book and how are you, what way are you delving into the community of, acting locally and thinking globally? You're acting locally in the Conway, Arkansas area.
So right now, with our nonprofit, Learning Idiom, we partnered with the city of Russellville. We're going to put on 4 Spanish speaking educational seminars for this next coming year of 2025. These 4 seminars are going to, so the first one will be with Arkansas United to help immigrant families educate their rights once living in the U.S. in the process of becoming a U.S. citizen. The next one is going to be over financial literacy event for people who have been interested in purchasing a house with an ITIN number, which is, the alternative for a social given to immigrant families, when they come into the U.S. The third one is going to be a special needs event to educate parents on how to parent their kid, more properly. We don't like to say that there is or isn't a good or bad way, but there are certain things, just don't beat your kids, But the fourth is going to be a health fair where they can be educated on the importance of medications, basic holistic ways to stay healthy and be strong while on medications. Learning about flu shots, dental work might be available depending on the funding. That's just for the 4 seminars we have planned right now. We have so much more that's coming up. Like we're actually going to be doing our comedy shows, more car shows this year. We're going to try to do comedy events at least more than once a month. We're talking about partnering with Old Bank over in Russellville, Arkansas. We've went and spoke over there with the owners and some of the other people. So, that's something that we are still awaiting confirmation on, but we're definitely trying to take more out there. Since all these will be in-person events, Learning Idiom is a virtual vocational academy and will continue to have interns during the summer and online conferences with World's Women's Conference and Awards and Life Services of America host global online conferences every year. So, we definitely do keep our hands full. And if anybody is interested in being a part of our 4th year as a nonprofit, you need to email us at learningidiomaar@gmail.com or visit our website to connect with our social media at 343lifegroup.com.
I like that.
I based everything that I started off the numbers 343.
Okay. Take us through that. What is 343?
So for anybody who doesn't know, growing up in the life of a firefighter, you learn your history. You learn important events that's happened in history. So, 343 signifies the number of men and women that were firefighters and paramedics that lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. They were the firefighters and paramedics who got trapped in the buildings as they were coming down and collapsed. And so everybody knows that, the signification of the 343 stands for those people. And so my dad, when he became an owner-op truck driver, he named his LLC 343 Transportation. I named mine 343 Transport. We owned 343 Life Group and 343 Ministries. So, getting to pass that torch on from person to person, they paved our way during this. We wouldn't have as many restrictions on TSA as we do now. We wouldn't have certain protocols to follow now. But because these protocols have been implemented, our country has been a lot safer. We don't have to, live in fear that, another plane's going to go through a building. My dad was actually there on ground zero. He was 10 blocks away. He was truck driving at the time. Mm-hmm. He was a firefighter at home, a truck driver over the road.
Yeah.
And he was stuck there for almost 2 weeks. No communication. No, my mom thought he was dead. Like nobody knew what was going on, but you couldn't communicate with 40 miles outside the city. But in honor of those people who give the ultimate sacrifice, I wanted to give back, and that's how I give back all the time.
Those 343, that signification that you live with, that you've stamped your approval on, it keeps those people's memories alive forever and ever, and that's beautiful, man. Supposedly, I think there was I know I'm going to paraphrase this. You're only fully dead when people forget about you. When everyone has forgotten about you, that's when you fully die. And as long as your memory stays alive, you'll live forever. You've put your stamp on this world. You put your stamp, and you've made a difference in people's lives that will resonate for generations to come. And that's all you can think to do in this 70, 80, 100 years maybe that you're on this earth, man. And that's a beautiful thing. I know you mentioned the old bank. That's a really nice venue. I appreciate that you're going there. I know I've seen quite a few concerts up there. But you were talking about something else that was the comedy. The comedy, and I know that we're pivoting from the 343, and that was tragedy. And the Greeks always said there's tragedy and then there's comedy. I want to talk about the comedy because I've seen a couple of the videos. What is your process heading up on that stage, man, to tell jokes? That takes so much courage. I have been an entertainer since since the 80s, man, since 1986. And I still get nervous every time I have to do a show. But you're going up by yourself and telling jokes to people. Is it horrific?
Man, honestly, that's where I'm different. So I do a lot of crowd work. I get to know who I'm talking to. So before I even go up on the stage, I don't even tell them I'm a comedian. I just start talking. Hey, yeah, I love to come out here. It's always a nice venue to come to. I get lots of laughs, and 20 minutes later they see me. You were just talking to us. So it definitely it psychs people out because they're like, but he was just so normal and so quiet, and I'm just like, well, I mean, I can't give away all of my secrets. I have to know who I'm talking to. Know your crowd. Know the age group in that crowd. For starters, that really helps. You don't want to say a joke that might pertain to the younger generation. So that's a good way to get Matt Rife canceled. Just stamp.
Well, they're the ones that came to the show. Okay, my brother, he was he tried his hand in comedy. Did the Miami Improv for quite a few years. He was doing shows down in the Improv, and he was right alongside some of the greats. Man, Todd Glass was down there, Victoria Jackson. I can't even drop all the names that I saw that were on the same bill. And maybe he was on an open mic night when he started, but he was opening for quite a few of these people as well. And sometimes those comedians, the quote unquote bigger comedians, more established comedians, would drop in at the weirdest places. Have they ever dropped in at I guess you're at the Looney Bin? Where are you doing your comedy mostly?
So like right now, I've taken a little breather from the comedy, just because we've had to focus more on the businesses, look at getting more accomplished. But right now, whenever I get my jump start back, once we talk with Old Bank, I'm more than likely going to be just doing Old Bank, the Joint, the Rail Yard will get rebooted once the weather gets a little bit warmer. But the Looney Bin has asked me to come out more than a few different times. It's just about maybe making the time to go out there. I've been out there a few different times before, but right now I've been focusing more on the community outreach. Right now it's such a rough time for the great communities of Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot that's not really going Arkansas's way. There's so much attentive help that Arkansas needs. There are a lot of places that are underfunded. There's police departments that are underfunded, firefighters, paramedics, hospitals. With me running my own taxi business, there's so much underfunding in this state. And so, we're trying to look at bringing wealth, not just to our family, but to others around us, with the influence that we bring. That's why, I'm excited to mention it. Would love to have you just sit and listen to our event. We're starting to get really big in the Christian world when it comes to podcasting. A good friend that we made about a year ago now, his name is Ken Jocelyn. We are actually going to be attending his event down in Atlanta after the beginning of the year in January. It's going to be, I think, either a 2 or 3 day event. John Maxwell is going to be joining us. We're actually getting ready to have Michael Butler. Michael D. Butler is getting ready to be on our podcast with us.
He was a pastor in Conway.
Oh, super.
He's in Thailand currently. He's a publisher.
So, we definitely have so much coming up that, I can do my comedy later. I'm doing something much bigger. I'm looking at the big picture. How many lives can I change at one time when I do this?
Well, one of the talks that you mentioned when you were going through the types of talks, the 4 different types of talks that you were going to be going through. Okay. And this is one hot topic that's been on the minds of, well, I guess Americans, and at least 50%, more than 50% of the Americans. I fully believe that the election was based a lot on this topic. You're talking about the immigration, okay? And the word illegal put in front of that alien I fully believe that's what lost the Democrats their battle, okay? And like him or not, Trump, that was like his first day, was saying, We're going to get the illegals out. Whether that was the right thing to say or the right thing to do, that was what I believe that might have put him over the top. Yeah, he had his base, and there's crazies on the right and there's crazies on the left. Everybody, come on back to the middle, where most of us live, okay? We like a little bit of that and we like a little bit of that, but mostly we just want to live right here, okay? Some people say don't walk in the middle of the road because you're going to get run over. Okay, well, look, watch out for people. You watch out for people in the middle of the road. But tell me about, the ideas that you're going to help the immigrants that came over maybe the quote unquote wrong way, help them to get the right way. Is that part of your talk, is to kind of help educate the immigrants to become citizens or at least be here legally?
Yes, that's one of the biggest things that we do with our nonprofit. Is we want to educate them. We want to help educate them not just on regular family life here in the States. What you need to do, what you need to get accomplished. What you need to do if you're stopped by police. What you need to do if you are questioned on something. You do then have rights whenever you become here. Even on asylum, they still have rights. So, they need to know how to enforce their rights and what they can do, what they can't do. And then we tell them about, what life will look like after you have become a U.S. citizen. Okay, well, now the game has changed. Now you're completely a U.S. citizen. Now you have to abide by U.S. laws. You need to know what to do if you're in a traffic stop. Enforcement officials are requiring you to do. You can't just say no at the end though. No, don't say that. That's a good way to get hit with a palo.
Well, there was a reason that you came to this country seeking asylum from something that was quote unquote bad in your country. There's a reason you fled to this country. So don't bring what was wrong about that country to this country. Yes, abide by the laws. Okay, we have a society here that seems to be working most of the time. We live in safety. Okay, since 9/11, there hasn't really been anything going on. Well, except for the drones that are happening. Hey, but that's a whole nother story, man. We could probably talk about another half hour, 45 minutes about the drones situation in Jersey. Have you heard anything about that?
I've heard little whispers and rumors about it. Definitely, I've got my feelers kind of everywhere out there. So, I mean, it's definitely been a conversation I've had with some of my friends. I got some friends actually over in Trenton, New Jersey. So, I mean, we've definitely have had this conversation.
Well, my brother thinks that they're looking for nukes, that there's a terrorist group that might have some nukes, because these drones were the same drones that were built right after 9/11 to sweep for that same kind of thing. But that's something that the general public will never know about if and when it is happening. If they find a nuke, we'll never know. If they don't find a nuke, we'll never know. But what do you think?
Just like smell no evil, hear no evil, see no evil. That's kind of how the government likes to operate. They don't want you to think that they're evil, but we know better. We know better than that.
All right. Well, I mean, you're driving a cab, man. You got that 343 transport. I remember I was driving one of the cab companies here in Conway between jobs. I don't want to mention that cab company because I know they're probably direct competition with you, but I was driving a cab. I wasn't very good at it, but once when I was in the cab, it was great, and finding directions, no problem. But because I had the karaoke stuff in the nighttime, I had to be there by 4:00. Now this cab company ran 6 to 6, and those cabs, they never turned off. You go in 6 a.m., you get out 6 p.m., and that cab hardly even gets turned off, and the next cab driver is going to be in that. How are you working the cab company? Is there a day shift? Is there a night shift? And what communities are you representing or servicing with the 343 transport?
Well, right now, I cover all of Central Arkansas. I cover anything from Batesville, Arkansas, and down. So so we're talking Batesville go all the way down to Texarkana, anything in between. I've taken people, out of state. I've got people who, are starting to recognize me and want me to help them do long state, out of state hauls.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely. I do have my day job, but I work 2 full-time jobs. And it gets interesting because I'll tell my wife the stories about what happens in the night. And it's like whenever something goes bump in the night, she's the first one to hear about it.
Yeah.
I've been on the visit one time when that bump goes in the night.
Well, the joke that I had,
some characters.
You said you have 2 full-time jobs. The joke that I had with one of my coworkers was, yeah, the Democrats have created millions of jobs. Yeah, I know. I have 4 of them. It's the only way to make it in this world is to hustle, man, and to work and to become, be fruitful. But, you're doing 2 jobs. You're a hardworking man. How do people get a hold of the cab if they need you or your day job? I want you to make sure that you have your bread and butter job so you can continue to do the nonprofit jobs as well that can help the community. Tell people how to get a hold of you if they need a cab or, if you want to mention what you're doing during the day or whatever.
So, if people want to get a hold of me, it's easiest just to either follow my social media, the Modern Day Noah or the Monarch of Fire. My TikTok is Monarch's Creations. You're welcome to follow my wife's social media as well. But the easiest way to get a hold of me, if you need a cab, hey, call this phone. I have it right here. Anybody calls me, I'll answer right then. If you guys need to call for a cab, the number is going to be 501-504-4129. And all you got to do is say, hey, I need a ride. And I can say, hey, it costs this much.
Okay.
The worst I can say is a price that you don't like. That's okay. There's 50 people behind you waiting on a ride. I don't need you.
Oh, well, now that's the Joker in you coming out. Yeah. But, the customer is very important. But I remember, hey, look, a lot of people don't want to give somebody a ride to the airport. Well, you're going to give them that ride to the airport. That's probably one of the main services that I remember doing when I was driving the cab for that short amount of time. And the reason that I'm not doing that job and didn't do that job for too long because I always had to cut out early so I could set up for my karaoke shows and do my DJ job. But man, I appreciate you giving people rides, or not giving. Well, I guess being a person that they can get rides from. How about that? The Modern Day Noah. And now, when I found your TikTok, it said the Modern Day Noah on it. Is there a whole nother TikTok?
No, it's the same one, but it's under Monarch's Creations.
Okay, then it is another TikTok because I have one that's the Modern Day Noah that might be defunct.
Yeah, no, the name is Monarch Creations because he has a TikTok shop, but the handle is the Modern Day Noah. Everywhere his handle is the Modern Day Noah.
That's what I have. I have your Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's going to be right down below.
Here. That's exactly what it looks like as soon as you pull it up.
I see it. All right. Hey, look, TikTok, love it or hate it. I think it's a great platform. My brother especially, he's got almost 175,000 fans on there listening to his little news items. And the reason I know about these drones is because of him, So you can use it for good. It's not just dancing videos. You can use it to give out some information. Sometimes it's dancing videos. Maybe you and Isleth and the young lad will go do some dancing videos, and we'll get into
with some podcasters here in Arkansas, Obi from Aleva and Chapix from Little Rock. We did a TikTok together. That was pretty fun.
Well, all right. Well, it's good to have you, man. I want to go ahead and wind this thing down. I know you got work to do. People need rides this evening. You're working on a Sunday. Oh, my goodness. Only crazy people work on a Sunday. But this, just like the medical field, works 365. The firefighters, 365. Police, 365. There are no days off for the people that are helping people. that need help. Okay. And I know cabs, people need a ride every day of the year.
Hey, my book is 365. 365-day devotional.
I like that, man.
Buy my book before it goes up. Right now, it's only $4.99 for the book. After the first of the year, it goes to $20-something a book.
Well, tell people how to find that book. Pre-order.
You can go on Amazon, it's called Faith Moves: 2025.
Well, make sure you send me those links, and I'll put them right there in the show notes. I got most of your links. I got your link trees for the modern day, the Monarch of Fire, and then I have your link tree for the Learning with Faith that you do with your wife as well. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have your face in front of my face. I look forward to maybe doing a show with you. I'm providing the sound, maybe some music, or maybe you'll sing for me, or maybe I'll provide a microphone so you can tell some jokes, make people happy, so they can have a smile in this crazy world, right?
But also be tuned. Coming up into this next year, we are actually doing our wedding. We finally are going to be able to have our actual wedding over in Costa Rica. That is definitely something that not everybody gets to do. We can't wait to share it with the world and show everybody how beautiful Central America is.
It's not going to be free. You're going to have to pay. If you want to watch.
Well, I lived in the Florida Keys and Key Largo, and destination weddings. It's a pretty special thing, man, to have people take their vacation and enjoy themselves around your big day. And that's beautiful, man. Everybody coming together for one special occasion, and that is special. That's you're tying the knot. You're taking the vows. That's beautiful.
Well, we already got married. It's just our actual wedding. It's going to be on our 1-year anniversary.
So really, it's a reunion. It's a faith. What do they call that? A prenup. When they redo their vows. I'm
pretty sure it's called a prenup.
A renup. They redo their vows.
You read your death contract. Yes, that's right.
All right. Well, give some shout outs to people that have helped you along the way, and then we'll button this thing up, man.
Of course, we're going to give kudos to you, KeysDAN. You believed in us since the start. You've been a very big part of, what we do. We do want to give our kudos out to Ken Jocelyn's going to be joining us, Michael Butler. They'll be joining us, Dr. Rob Kelly. We want to thank all the other nonprofits that we've partnered with over the years. Gigi Sabat. She is an amazing person.
Gigi Sabat.
She was endorsed by Les Brown. She is an amazing person to sit and talk to. Which we've got a list of so many people we've made connections with and talked to. It would probably take the next 20 minutes trying to tell you who all we've spoke to. Daniel Gomez, he's another inspiration. This Wednesday, we'll actually be doing an event, and he will be in the event.
Collaborating with the Kingdom is the name of the event this Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central Time.
See, this is what you married. Your spouse will finish your sentences for you.
Hey, that's the advantage of being married to somebody wonderful, and that's fantastic, man. I've liked Isolate since the day we met, and I like you as well. All right, I always give the last words for the people. I give you the last word. This could be words to live by. This could be something you heard a long time ago, maybe a mantra you wake up with every morning, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. Reverend John Stutts, the modern day Noah, the Monarch of Fire, give the last words for the people.
So if I could give the last words to anybody, wake up and achieve excellence. Don't back down from a fight. If you got something that's worth fighting for, hold on to it and keep making that dream come true.
Well, there you have it, party people. Reverend John Stutts, the Monarch of Fire, the modern day Noah. The man is community oriented. And since he was little, he's been taught by his family how to be a part of the community, be a hard-working part of the community. Yeah, he's got 2 full-time jobs. He's working hard, to make sure that his wife and his child, I know stepson, but I'd say his child. You when you marry someone, that little person becomes yours as well. So it's a great responsibility. They're working together to build something, to be a part of the community, to give back as well. Writing books, helping immigrants, do their immigrant thing, giving people rides. It's good, man. It's good to have these types of people. It's good to have you, John Stutts, and Isla Stutts, for that matter, in the community and taking care of us and being a part of it, not just living in it, but also being a part of it, taking care of people. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for being a part of the What Makes You Famous podcast. That's it for this edition. Thank you, John Stutts. So I'm turning my attention to you, my loyal listener. If you'd like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call, 501-470-6386, or email KeysDAN@AOL.com. That's it for me. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.